everybody, this is Josh Ronquist for Heavy Debriefings, here with another offering of Out Today and What I Missed. 10 brand new albums, 5 out today, 5 I've missed along the way, and no, I'm not shaving my head bald. Let's get into it.
Oh, I'm a freak!
First up, we have the debut album from the Toronto band Apogean with Cyberstrictive. Now, this, of course, is on the label The Artisan Era, and if you're familiar with the label, you know what you're going to get here. High quality, top-notch, technical death metal. If that's not for you, I completely understand. But Apogean really does do something that I really appreciate here. There's a lot of peaks and valleys within the music. Of course, it's super technical. It can turn on the turn of a dime. There's so many things that are going on with it, but they really know how to write songs, and they know how to show off that masterclass musicianship without just showing wankery. And Max Smith, formerly of Croesus, is the lead singer of this band, and it's incredible to see what he can do outside of Croesus. If you need some new tech death, and if you need something from the Artisan Era, you need to check out Apogean.
By now, your name and particulars have been fed into every laptop, desktop, mainframe, and supermarket scanner that collectively make up the global information conspiracy, otherwise known as the Beast.
Next up, we have the legendary band Exhorder with Defectum, Omnium.
Threaten me with good times, and you'll see who's the swine.
This is the band's 4th album since 1990, and once you know it, they only have 4 albums to their name. But I feel like the band just keeps improving on age. Slaughter at the Vatican is one of the most influential thrash and groove metal albums of all time. In fact, a certain band decided to go along with that entire genre and flip to what they used to do and started going in this style. Wouldn't you know it? I bet you can figure out who it is. But no, seriously folks, Exhorder is back, and they're just putting out some killer music here with a lot of great punk and hardcore influences mixed in with their thrash and groove metal. It's very aggressive, very left-wing from what I got from it, and I appreciate that. Thoughts and prayers all over this album. This thing rules. And I'm so happy to see the band still together in 2024, rocking just as hard as they did back in 1990. If you want to prove that legacy bands can still put out some of the best albums out there, check this thing out.
Of course, my thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families.
Of course, yeah. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Next up, we have the Metal Blade debut of Gost with Prophecy. This is a one-man project who covers such a wide gamut, and it's for the metalhead and the non-metalhead alike. If you love 80s synthwave, there's something here for you. If you love horror soundtracks, of course that's here. If you love industrial, oh yeah, there's plenty of that. And if you're looking for something on the extreme side of metal, wouldn't you know it, that's here too. It's a conglomerate of all of it. And it all makes sense, and it doesn't sound like a giant hodgepodge. It works to perfection. This album feels like the soundtrack to an album I've never seen, but I really want to. If your love goes from John Carpenter to Anil Nathrak, you're finding something in my heart. This album rules, and yes, it is an instrumental album. I think it's really beneficial to the music. There's a reason why Gost is getting so much claim to fame lately. Why don't you go check them out for yourself and understand why?
It's the end of the world! God loves you! He's gonna kill you!
Next up, we have Midnight with Hellish, Expectations. This album was written in retaliation to their previous album, Let There Be Witchery, and you can really tell. The songs are shorter, sweeter, only comes in at 25.5 minutes, and it's some of the best material the band has ever done. The songs are just absolutely killer from start to finish. It's everything that you love about the black and roll, black thrash, and rock and roll styles that Midnight has always been known for. And of course, their love of Motorhead will always shine through. Seriously, Midnight is one of the greatest bands on Metal Blade Records, and this album just proves that you don't even need a half hour to prove the power of what Midnight is all about.
That's a clean burning hell, I tell you what.
And finally, for the brand new music that comes out today, it is the brand new album from Sonata Arctica with Clear Cold Beyond. Now, I bet you're surprised that I'm talking about this album because, you know, obviously in the last 15, almost 20 years, Sonata hasn't really been doing the power metal thing. They've been going in a much more theatrical, hard rock, and, I mean, they went into a lot of different directions. But here we go. In 2024, Sonata Arctica is back to writing a full-on power metal album, and the world can finally rejoice. Yes, this is easily the best album that they've done in a very, very long time, and I would say it easily beats everything once they stop doing power metal. Even a song that's still very tongue-in-cheek, like California, can be funny and awesome at the same time. You love the double bass, you love the guitar chugging, you love the grand keyboard wizardry, and of course, Tony Kakko's amazing vocals. Everything that you loved about Sonata Arctica is back.
Come, family. Sit in the snow with Daddy and let us all bask in television's warm, glowing, warming glow.
That's 5 albums down. We got 5 more to go. What did I miss?
Oh, this isn't gonna be about Jesus, is it?
All things are about Jesus, Homer. Except this.
First up, we have Blood Opera with songs in the key of death.
When the moon turns red, the dead shall rise, and the gates of hell shall open wide.
This album is just pure fun from start to finish. But of course, you really have to be into the 80s and 90s cheesy horror metal to really appreciate this. Now I'm talking about that down and dirty B-grade grindhouse horror. If you like that, plus you love 80s music, this has everything in strides. You got horror songs that are about The Omen, The Fly, Candyman. They got Tony Todd to do the intro to the song Be My Victim, which is all about Candyman. That tells you everything you need to know right there. And of course throughout it, there is a skit story going on talking about the creation of Blood Opera, the band Blood Opera, and them coming back to life to, well, I won't spoil it for you. But if you love your cheesy 80s, 90s metal, and you love that grindhouse horror, this is meant for you.
I think that's fart!
I think she's right. The pants are a dead giveaway.
Next up, we have Electric Deathbeat with a Ghost Triangle. I tried talking about this last week, but the footage went missing somehow, some way, so I'm doing it now. This album is something that took me by surprise, because there's a lot of bands that are doing the modern metal, melodic death metal thing going on, too many to mention in a short thing here, but Electric Deathbeat does it quite a bit different. Imagine a much more brutal soil work. Like Speed really got his gutturals going, where it almost sounds like it's like grindcore, brutal death metal. But you also mix that in with some of the finest cleans I've heard all year, and also just a magnificent display of musicianship and songwriting going on throughout all of it. This is an awesome album. The production might be not in some people's favor, but I personally dig it, and if you want a great modern take on modern metal, but just a tad bit more brutal, you should give this one a shot.
The sum of the square roots of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side.
That's a right triangle, you idiot! Go!
Next up, we have the brand new album from Haunt with Dreamers. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is the 10th brand new album from Haunt, and the band started in 2017. That is absolutely insane to me. But what is also absolutely insane? How good this album is. It is the perfect display of heavy metal, revival metal, and just what Haunt has been doing ever since its inception. Trevor is just one of the best songwriters in this genre, and the fact that he pretty much puts out an album or two every single year just blows my mind. And what makes this one stand out from the other ones? I easily gotta say it, it's the production. On so many of Haunt's albums in the past, it has that raw sound, but it sounds good. On this one, there's no denying the incredibility of everything that's going on in the production on this album, and it makes everything stand out. This is the perfect album to check out Haunt, and even though it's not on Spotify yet, go everywhere else and check this album out.
If you cheapskate me into hell, I'll haunt you good. Imagine this when you're sitting on the john.
Okay. Next up is Louise Lamont with Lifetime of Tears. This album took me by complete surprise, and I just discovered it this past week despite the fact that it came out in February. It's always why I'm glad I check out Bandcamp to see some stuff that I might have missed along the way. This is listed as death gospel, and I totally understand why. There's elements that aren't really death metal but deals with the idea of death, and it's done through an electronic rock, alternative rock, soul, R&B kind of feel, also with some Swedish ingredients mixed on top. This feels like a very ceremonious, dark, cathartic album of like sitting in a graveyard and getting your emotions out. It's such a strange display if you are a metalhead and you've never heard anything like this before, but you really should give this a shot if you want something that's adjacent to metal, but really feels like it's from the heart.
All this talk has made me hungry.
And finally today, to make things very, very wacky, it is the return of Sleepytime Gorilla Museum with Of the Last Human Being. The band has finally returned after 17 years. Yes, it has been since 2007, and oh, that's the year I graduated high school. Time really does fly, doesn't it? But on a better note, this album is absolutely insane in all the right ways. It's everything that I've loved about the band since I was in high school, and everything that they've learned from their experiences along the way. Everything you love about the band is here in their avant-garde style. It is just as smart and quirky and absolutely insane with musicianship as you could want. The fact that this album came out and they're going to be doing a full-fledged tour going on right now is just incredible to me. Go support Sleepytime Gorilla Museum if you want something left to the left of center.
I smell a museum.
Yeah, good things don't end with Eum. They end with mania or Tyria.
And there you go, folks, 10 more albums down, 76 albums I've covered in 2024 already, and the end of this week's Out Today and What I Missed. What do you think? Did you find some new discoveries? Some albums you were already enjoying? Some stuff that you didn't know existed and that you're gonna check out? Were all my tastes terrible? Am I just terrible in general? Are you just gonna keep telling me to shave my head? Let me know all of that down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I thank you so very much for coming back week after week, and I can watch everything grow and grow as it should. Thank you so very much. And until next week for Out Today and What I Missed, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Ronquist saying, and I mean it, embrace the skillet.